A storm is brewing on the northern edge of the Tanami over attempts to limit local access to alcohol. It's a battle that pits police against one of the territory's iconic roadhouses and positions a collection of hardcore drinkers against an increasingly religious group of families who are fed up with the trauma caused by grog in their communities. It's also shaping as a first test of the new government's commitment to alcohol reform in the bush. Danielle Parry reports from Kalkarinji in the western top end, and a warning some of the material may distress Indigenous viewers.
It's Friday night in the Aboriginal community of Kalkarinji, almost 500 kilometres southwest of Katherine, and police are screening cars as they come into town.
Just a nice steady blow. I'll tell you when to stop, eh? Blow, blow, blow.
They're breath-testing drivers and searching for alcohol being run into this dry community.
Please, put your belt on, bloke. Sit up, mate.
One passenger is caught travelling without a seatbelt.
Hey, mate, sit up and put your seatbelt on, eh?
But all the drivers pass the breathalyser in what police say is a refreshingly good night on the roads.
No worries. All right, mate. You have a good night.
Sadly, it isn't always the case in this part of the world.
There's been a number of deaths in that region, particularly associated with fatal road crashes, but also just the domestic violence and the personal violence within the communities. It's quite sickening, for the officers to respond, let alone to obviously the victims.
The Top Springs Hotel is an isolated roadhouse at the crossroads of the Buntine and Buchanan highways, which service an array of cattle stations and the communities of Kalkarinji and Larjamanu. It sells fuel and food, but it also has the only takeaway liquor licence for hundreds of kilometres.
We're here to operate a business and run a business successfully. We're not breaking the law, we are selling what we're allowed to sell.
730 understands that over the last financial year, Top Springs stocked its shelves with the equivalent of more than 1,000 standard drinks of alcohol every day.
We are a hotel, so yes, we do sell lots of alcohol, but that's what we're here for, Daniel, to sell alcohol. We're not a milk bar, nothing like that. We're here to sell alcohol.
The takeaway alcohol is mostly consumed at bush drinking spots like this one, outside the limits of dry communities such as Kalkarinji and Larjamanu.
They buy a lot of one. One person can go there and buy them up to 10 carton or 9 carton, or you can buy them at 6 or 7 spirit, And they won't drink themselves. You know that you got to come back, drink down the grid, starting all this made.
Certainly what we've been able to examine through a lot of either fatal road crashes within the particular region or some significant violent offence in the region, we've been able to determine that there's been large amounts of takeaway alcohol that have been purchased within that particular area.
Authorities are trying to tackle the problem through restrictions at Top Springs. The hotel is appealing against moves to cap its takeaway sales at 36 cans of heavy or 90 cans of lighter beer per car per day.
It's ludicrous. People have got freedom and choice, and they should not be telling or dictating terms to what we can or what we can't sell.
Top Springs says the changes will only move the problem into Katherine.
They can go in and buy a pallet, no restrictions whatsoever. What is happening now, people are bypassing us here. We've had a huge loss of trade since the word has got out about trying to place restrictions on us.
Authorities are also trying to change the licence here at the social club in Kalkarinji.
Certainly in Kalkarinji, the social club there, we're asking the licensing conditions for that particular club to go from heavy strength beer to light and mid-strength beer for that particular area.
The town has had a club for decades and it's long been at the centre of community life.
People can go there, have their beer like any other person. You work hard all day. Naturally, you want to call beer and sit down and have a chat with your friends.
The Victoria Daly Shire Council holds the licence for the club and has lodged an appeal against the changes. But it's unclear whether the objection will proceed. The club has already voluntarily stopped selling full strength for the time being, and some locals aren't happy.
We love our heavies. Some have been forced to change, but we're not children to be expected to change, we're adults. We choose what we want, and that's the way it should be.
Rosalind Frith says the main trouble is caused by takeaway from Top Springs and not the club. She says during the Territory election campaign, her new local member, Bess Price, promised to fight for full-strength beer to stay here, but the country Liberals have failed to deliver.
You don't make promises to people, and then when you're up there in the air-conditioned comfort, we get nothing back. We just left now. Just a voice lost in the wind, that's all we are.
Leah Lehman works at the local health clinic and sees the effects of grog every day. She doesn't drink but supports full-strength beer staying as long as it's accompanied by proper alcohol support services.
Because then it keeps our people here. You haven't got them all running, driving to Top Spring or driving to Dunmara or sending money with whoever, to get full strength, because that's what's happening now.
The club was closed when we arrived because of an accident a month ago. A 14-year-old girl was killed when a car full of people she was driving rolled between Kalkarinji and Dargaragu. 7:30 understands that some passengers in the car had been drinking and the case is now before the coroner.
Came to a funeral for my granddaughter. Say goodbye. Yeah, I was pretty sad when I say goodbye because in cemetery I was standing and looking at the coffin really hard. Why my granddaughter is leaving me? Because she's only 14 years old.
Lajamanu Night Patrol workers Peter Patterson and Tina Dickinson are the girls' grandparents. They drove over to Kalkarinji for the funeral and believe the teenager is another casualty of the region's grog addiction.
We feel very sad because of alcohol that really take our loved ones away. She was just only a young girl.
Kalkarinji Night Patrol worker Martin Plasko is on the front line of his community's alcohol problems. He says things have been quieter here in recent weeks and is one of many who credits the influence of religion.
That's our own feeling. If they want to change to go to church, it's a good feeling because they know they want drink, they want fight,
They're giving their life just to leave everything behind, like grog, card, fighting and all those things, jealous, just to move on.
The Baptist Church is developing a strong following in the Territory's west as people turn away from grog and the trauma it's causing in their communities. Several hundred people from right across the region turned out for this week's Sunday service here at the Kalkarinji Baptist Church. Church leaders wouldn't let us film the gathering or the mass baptism for 85 people that followed in a nearby creek. But those attending have told us they're now enthusiastically embracing religion. They say it's having a positive, calming effect on the community and is changing attitudes to grog. Police are hoping it's a trend that will continue with the help of new restrictions. They'll make their case at a licensing commission hearing in Katherine next month, where the issue is set to come to a head.
My role is to keep people safe, is to reduce harm in the community. From my perspective, I think that there is an identified need to restrict sales for the betterment of the community.
I think my message is like, you're not dealing with just a few people who aren't non-drinkers. You've got to think of people that are drinkers as well. We have a voice. We'll fight for what we feel is right and what we want.
Grog is killing our people, young people, old people, even middle-aged people. Grog not good thing. It's bad thing.
Danielle Parry reporting there, and in a phone conversation with 7:30 yesterday, the member for Stewart, Bess Price, wouldn't confirm or deny whether she'd made promises during the election campaign to lobby for full-strength beer to remain in Kalkarinji. She promised to investigate the alcohol situation in her electorate further and said she wasn't aware the issue had progressed so far.